So here's the how-to video on some basic information on Kenmore number 7. If you look up here, it has the number 7 on the top of it. This machine will come to you. It does not have a case, so you won't have to worry about that. We will probably figure out some sort of covering for it before we ship it off to you so that you can keep it safe at your house. But it's a nice solid machine. It was made to go into a table, so we will also be making some sort of support system for it for underneath here. Some important information about it. It's a machine that does both a straight stitch and a zigzag and some other things. The only thing you will be doing or need to do with this machine is a straight stitch. So in order to make sure that you are doing a straight stitch, you want to have this knob at the top, this stitch selector knob, turned to this orange dot right here. Okay, that will correspond to the orange dot that is down here on your stitch width. Okay, so make sure that both of those are on your orange dot. This knob down here is your stitch length. That is how long your stitches are and how tight they are. You don't want to have it all the way up on 6, which is really loose. You also don't want to have it all the way up here on 12, which is really tight and would be hard to pick out if you should make a mistake and need to remove something. So we usually keep it right around the 8 on this knob right here. Okay. The other thing that's on the front here that you need to know is your reverse knob. It's this button right here. You'll see when I do a general video on how to do a straight line of stitching on these Kenmores. Each of them are slightly different. They're all in the same basic location though, and yours is right here. You hold it down while you press on the foot pedal to go backwards for a few stitches, let it off, your machine will go forward, press it down to go backwards, and then let it go to go forwards. Okay, and so that's there. The other thing on this side is your on-off switch, which is this button right here. You push it and it comes on. You know that it's on because your light comes on. Push it again, it goes off. Okay, so let's turn it on. The other thing on this side of your machine is your flywheel, which if you've watched the video on how to thread a bobbin, you know what that is, and yours is one of the flywheels that has the larger outside and the smaller inside, and your bobbin winding mechanism is up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get you threaded up. You have up here at the top on this machine, you have 2 spindles. You want to use the, you can use either one of those spindles. I tend to usually use the one to the left that's closest to all of the things that you have to go through over on the other side. But again, it's up to you as to which one you want to use. So your thread will come from your spindle here. It will come across to this keeper right here, and it will go underneath where this is what you use when you wind the bobbin. It will go underneath that and then catch in this keeper right here. Okay, then you're going to come down, and the next thing that you go through is this sort of last knob on your machine that we haven't talked about. This is the tension mechanism, and this will come to you, and we will have adjusted the tension mechanism appropriately so that the machine is stitching well when it leaves the shop. You should never ever turn this mechanism unless you happen to be in a Zoom session with Julie and I and we're troubleshooting. We ask you to make an adjustment on it. This should be set and it should be left alone. So don't ever turn this knob here. However, it's very important that your thread goes through it properly here behind the knob on the front. And if you look down, you can see that there are these little metal wafers that are back there, okay? And there's this little metal mechanism that's right here. You want your thread to be right in front of this metal mechanism and between those little wafer-like metal plates there, okay? Then your thread's going to come over And this part is a little tricky to show, as I've been discovering as I've been filming these today. You see your thread is against this little arm here. This arm you want to push back all the way up until it's on the other side of this hook right there on your tension mechanism. Once your thread is all the way up there and your arm is behind it, let that arm go so that your thread is hooked behind this hook here, goes underneath that arm, and then it's ready to come back up again. Okay? Then you've got this keeper right here that you can just slide the thread behind like that. Okay? Then it's ready to come up and it's ready to go through this arm right here. Again, your flywheel, which is on this side, turn that toward you. Okay, and that will make that go up to the top. Once it's up there, you can take your thread and you can poke it through that hole that's at the top there. Just like that. Oops. I don't want it to be through that, however. Yeah, we're just going to do that again. Trying to make sure that I'm in a position where you can see, and that's making me awkward. There you go. Okay, so it goes from your tension mechanism through this keeper and then up to this arm. Then it comes down from there and goes through this keeper on the front right here, and then comes down and goes through this keeper here. Okay, and you just sort of push it in to there and it'll snap into that little keeper. Then there's one last little keeper here at the top of your needle. I'm gonna pull that needle up again so maybe you can see it better. It's over here on the right hand side, and you're gonna put it right in there like that. Okay, then your thread will go through your sewing machine needle from the front of the machine toward the back of the machine. There is a hole down at the bottom of the needle here, and machines generally always thread the direction in which the bobbin is inserted, and this bobbin is inserted from the front of the machine to the back of the machine. So that's how the threading happens. Okay, next thing, we're gonna take a look at your bobbin. Okay, did you see what I did there? I just put my thumb in this little slot here, popped it up, and then it slides out to get to your bobbin, which is down here in this little hole. Okay, and this is your bobbin casing. You see this little arm that's out to the side? You want to lift that and then grab it, and then that'll just pull right out of there. Okay, take your bobbin, make sure that your thread is winding off to the right, and then looking at your bobbin casing, pop your bobbin in with your thread winding off to the right. Then look at the top, and you see this little notch at the top? You want your thread to go into that notch and then catch and go underneath this metal piece here until it clicks out and comes out through this hole that's up here on the top. Okay, and I'll just pull off like that. Once you've done that, turn your casing around again so that your arm is up like this. And if it's hard to see on this, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get to a place where you can see with the camera. Once you get this at home, you can maybe take a look. There's a little notch at the top of this metal piece, and this arm needs to line up with that notch. Okay, so you just pop that in. Okay, and spin it a little bit till you get it in line there, and then push it in with your thumb. Okay, the trick is once you get this machine, you won't be able to go underneath like that. I was able to do that and show you that. You'll be doing everything from the top like this most likely. But that goes in like that, and then you'll feel it click in place nice and firm. Okay, hang on to your top thread with your left hand. Take your right hand, pull the flywheel toward you. Okay, so that your needle goes down in. Keep pulling it, and your looper will come around, catch that thread, and then we'll bring that bobbin thread right up to the top, right there. Okay, it's important to remember, always pull the flywheel toward you, never push it away from you. Okay, both your threads are up on top. Your plate goes back in position, goes in, clicks down, and you are ready to sew.